So with that, we will move to our first presentation, which is from Richard Adger. Richard's Tandragee historian. For those who have travelled the distance, Tandragee is in the centre of County Armagh, not too far from here altogether. He's a graduate of Queen's University and the Open University. He's written 6 books, numerous articles for newspapers, magazines, assorted history publications. He's very well known on the lecture circuit, and he's presented particularly on military history, but also local history, right across the island of Ireland. His research for the Royal British Legion has resulted in 343 additional names being added to the Portadown and Lurgan war memorials, and it's an incredibly time-consuming exercise, identifying those names. He's a member of the Timor Golden Springs Loyal Orange Lodge in Tandragee District, and is an honorary friend of Sloan's House. So with no further ado, our first speaker, Richard Adger.
Hello everyone. In this Northern Ireland's centennial year, this paper will explore the cabinet of the first Parliament of Northern Ireland. 6 men would form this cabinet, 3 of them being very prominent Orangemen: Sir James Craig, Sir Edward Archdale and John Miller Andrews. The Orange institution and unionism have a symbiotic relationship, their genesis lying in the violence and political turmoil of the 1790s. Almost from its inception, there have been those who wished to end the 1800 Act of Union. The Irish Loyal and Patriotic Union was formed in Dublin in 1885. This political party would contest movement towards Home Rule, which had its foundations in the politics of Daniel O'Connell. By the 1860s, the Fenian Brotherhood contested that the only physical force would end the Union. In response, Home Ruler and former Orangeman Isaac Butt MP formed the Home Rule League in 1870, believing that this would offer an alternative to violence. Charles Stewart Parnell MP would succeed Butt as the leader of the Home Rule League. In 1891, under the leadership of Colonel Edward James Saunderson MP, the Irish Loyal and Patriotic Union would transform into the Irish Unionist Alliance. Edward Saunderson would serve as County Grand Master of Belfast. His wife Helena Emily Saunderson was a leading figure in the Orange Women's Association. A statue of Saunderson stands in Portadown Town Centre, and tradition has it that this statue wears a sash every 12th of July. In 1905, under the Ulster Unionist Council was formed, and so strong was the link between unionism and Orangeism that 50 of the 200 seats on the council were reserved for Orangemen. It was from this council on the 3rd of March 1905 would emerge what is now the oldest political party in Ireland, the Ulster Unionist Party. In 1920, with the Great War finally behind them, the focus of the British government turned to devising a method of devolved government for Ireland. After much effort, the Government of Ireland Act 1920 was, they believed, the best solution. This would deliver 2 Home Rule parliaments, one in Belfast and the other in Dublin. The Act made provision for the Council of Ireland, the theory being that this body would harmonise relations between the 2 governments, leading eventually to a merger forming one government for all of Ireland. Also, a border commission was formed after the elections. This body would review the border, having the powers to change its position if it deemed necessary. Not all Unionists and Orangemen were happy with the situation. The Reverend J.C. Taylor, speaking from the platform of the South Fermanagh 12th demonstration in Maguire's Bridge, stated, there was an element of cowardice and want of backbone in the action of the Ulster Unionist Council, throwing the loyal men of Monaghan, Cavan and Donegal to the wolves to save their own skin. It is also no secret that Unionist icon Sir Edward Carson found the idea of partition unsettling. As a Dubliner, he felt a sense of betrayal towards Southern Unionists, but as a realist he knew it was the best deal on offer. The Act laid down the format of the new Parliament. This would consist of two houses. The House of Commons Northern Ireland, this would have 52 publicly elected members. And secondly, the Northern Ireland Senate, this would have 26 members, 24 would be elected by the House of Commons, the other two being the Lord Mayor of Belfast and the Mayor of Londonderry. Northern Ireland came into existence on the 3rd of May 1921 under the terms of the Government of Ireland Act. Electioneering began almost immediately. The Ulster Unionists, assisted by the Orange Order, leading the campaign for the maintenance of the Union, Sinn Féin leading the campaign against it. The election for the Northern Ireland Parliament was held on the 24th of May 1921. 5 political parties contested 52 seats with an 88% turnout. The breakdown of seats were Ulster Unionists 40, Sinn Féin 6, Nationalist Party 6. This would be Unionism's greatest election victory. In all, 12 elections were held for the Parliament of Northern Ireland. Unionists would never win 40 seats again. So much for the cries of gerrymandering. If Unionists were fixing elections, they weren't doing a very good job at it. Sinn Féin, including Eamon de Valera, elected in Down, and Michael Collins, elected in Armagh, refused their seats, as did the Nationalist Party under the leadership of Joe Devlin, elected in Belfast West. The Roman Catholic Mayor of Londonderry, Hugh O'Doherty, also refused to take his seat in the Senate. An election was also held in Southern Ireland. Topping the poll, Sinn Féin refused to take their seats, claiming allegiance to the Republic of 1916 and taking their seats in their own Dáil Éireann. On the 22nd of May, or 22nd of June 1921, King George V and Queen Mary came to Belfast for the state opening of the new Parliament. This was held in Belfast City Hall. The Parliament would move to the Presbyterian Union Theological College behind Queen's University, and then moving on to Stormont in 1932. Nationalists and Republicans firmly believed that Northern Ireland was doomed to failure, the Roman Catholic Church supporting the non-participation policy by refusing to propose a chaplain to the Northern Ireland Parliament. So it is easy to claim that this was a Protestant Parliament. The people raising this complaint were the people who made it so. During the 1929 election campaign, Joe Devlin and the Roman Catholic Primate of all of Ireland admitted that they had made a great mistake, and with hindsight, they should have encouraged people to play a full and active role within Northern Ireland and its government. It is often claimed by commentators that Stormont had an inbuilt Unionist majority. Those making this claim never highlight that Dáil Éireann has an inbuilt Republican majority. Northern Ireland would be offered the opportunity to join the South under the Irish Free State Constitution Act 1922. Article 12 of this Act gave Northern Ireland 30 days to decide if it wished to be part of the Irish Free State. On the 7th of December 1922, one day after the Irish Free State came into existence, the Northern Ireland government voted to exercise their right to opt out. Northern Ireland would go on to have 6 Prime Ministers. All 6 were Orangemen. So who were the first Orangemen in government? Sir James Craig, Prime Minister, the son of a wealthy whisky distiller. James was born in 1871 at Sydenham, Belfast. Educated in Edinburgh, after which he was employed as a stockbroker. Prior to his political career, Craig served with the Royal Irish Rifles and the Imperial Yeomanry during the Boer War. The military provided organisational skills that served Craig well during his political life. First elected to Westminster in 1906, Craig would be a leading figure in the fight against Home Rule. James married Cecilia Tupper in 1905. They would have 3 children. He was a noble Viscount Craigavon in 1927, and Lord Craigavon would serve as Prime Minister of Northern Ireland until his death in 1940. Following a state funeral, Sir James Craig was buried in the Stormont estate. Sir James Craig was always a very proud Orangeman. In 1919, he helped form the Orange Lodge at Westminster. He also served as County Down Grand Master and was a member of Ballydonnell LOL 1446 and Eldon LOL 7. During his prime ministerial years, he held out the hand of friendship to the Catholic community, wishing them to play a full and active role within Northern Ireland. But despite his efforts, the non-participation policy remained, much to the disadvantage of the Catholic community. Craig insisted in 1922, when forming the Royal Ulster Constabulary, that 30% of recruits should come from the Catholic community. The fact that the non-participation resulted in this target not being met was not Craig's fault. When speaking or writing about Craig, he is consistently quoted as having stated, "Stormont was a Protestant parliament for a Protestant people." This is simply a piece of black propaganda used to tarnish Craig's legacy. Craig's true statement was in response to accusations of discrimination by Nationalist MP George Leake on the 24th of April 1934. Craig stated, "Since we took up office, we have tried to be absolutely fair towards all citizens of Northern Ireland. Actually, on an Orange platform, I myself laid down the principle to which I still adhere, that I was the Prime Minister not of one section of the community, but of all, and as far as I could possibly go, I was going to see that fair play was meted out to all classes and creeds without favour whatever was on my part." Leake then shouted out, "What about your Protestant Parliament?" Craig replied, "The honourable member must remember that in the south they boast of a Catholic state. They still boast of Southern Ireland being a Catholic state. All I boast is that we are a Protestant Parliament and a Protestant state. It would be rather interesting for historians of the future to compare a Catholic state launched in the south with a Protestant state launched in the north, and to see which gets the better and prospers more." Craig's statement must also be taken in the context of comments by Eamon de Valera and Doyle Irwin in 1930. Ireland is a Catholic nation. Orangeman Sir James Craig successfully led Northern Ireland through those difficult early years. Constant threat and attack from the IRA, and he had the difficult task of maintaining stability while building a forward-looking modern country. A bronze statue of Sir James Craig stands at the top of the grand staircase in Parliament Building, Stormont. During the 1970s, Republican Bernadette Devlin tried to topple the statue. Push and push, she could not move the statue 1 inch, proving that even in death, Sir James Craig was still not an inch unionist. John Miller Andrews, the Minister of Labour. Craig would appoint John Miller Andrews as Minister of Labour in the first cabinet, serving in this role until 1937 and becoming when he became Minister of Finance. Andrews would be replaced as Minister of Labour by Armagh MP and Portadown Orange District Master, Major David Graham Shillington. In 1940, after Craig's death, J.M. Andrews would go on to become the second Prime Minister of Northern Ireland. This was during the critical period of the Second World War. Born in 1871 in Cumber, the son of a local linen mill owner, Thomas Andrews and his wife Eliza Peary. John was the eldest of their 5 children. His brothers were also prominent men in Northern Ireland society. Thomas Andrews, Managing Director of Harland and Wolff and cited as the greatest ship architect of the era. Thomas was lost on the RMS Titanic. Sir James Andrews, the Lord Chief Justice of Northern Ireland, and William Andrews, the President of the Irish Cricket Union. Educated at Belfast Royal Academical Institute, John would find employment in his family's flax mill and the Belfast Rope Works. In 1902, John Andrews married Jessie Ormond, having 3 children. When it comes to Orange credentials, they don't come much better than J.M. Andrews. He would serve as County Down Grand Master, Grand Master of all of Ireland, and Imperial Grand Master of the Grand Orange Council of the world. As Minister of Labour, he would put his years in business experience to good use, attracting investment into Northern Ireland and creating employment. He also successfully argued on hearing that Westminster was to introduce unemployment benefit, that as part of the United Kingdom, this should be introduced at the same level in Northern Ireland. This equality of citizenship would serve Northern Ireland well during the years that followed. Sir Edward Archdale, the Minister of Agriculture. Born in Rossfad, County Fermanagh in 1853, Edward was the eldest of 8 children born to Nicholas Montgomery and Adelaide Mary Archdale. As a young man, he would serve in the Royal Navy, having been educated at Knight's Naval School in Portsmouth. In 1880, he would marry Elijah Butt Bland, and they would have 6 children. After his naval career in 1884, he was elected High Sheriff of Fermanagh, first entering politics in 1898 as the Westminster MP for North Fermanagh. Elected in 1921 to the new Parliament of Northern Ireland, he would serve as Minister of Agriculture. As a owner and experienced farmer, he was well qualified for this role. In 1928, he was created a baronet. A dedicated Orangeman, Sir Edward Archdale would serve as County Fermanagh Grand Master, Grand Master of Ireland and Imperial Grand Master. Referred to by James Craig as the grand old man of Ulster politics, this leading Orangeman would serve the farming community well. He led improvements in marketing and quality of agricultural products, developed research in agricultural science and training and farming techniques, fully opening up the United Kingdom as a marketplace to our farming community. In the Northern Ireland of 1921, the farming industry employed over 150,000 people. So, would these Orangemen have been better accepting the situation and supporting Dáil Éireann? The opening lines of the 1912 Ulster Solemn League and Covenant tell a story in relation to this. Being convinced in our conscience that Home Rule would be disastrous to the material well-being of Ulster as well as that of the whole of Ireland. Northern Ireland prospered economically and socially due to the continuation of the Union. As of 2021, figures show that the Republic of Ireland has the highest debt per head of population in Europe, with an unemployment rate twice that of Northern Ireland. Its highest export remains its people. Subversive of our civil and religious freedom. The constant attacks by Republicans on the Orange institution continue to this day to illustrate that they offer no civil or religious freedom. An analysis of the census returns show that in the years 1911 to 2011, the Protestant population of the Republic of Ireland has declined, going from 10% in 1911 to 3.5% in 2011. Destructive of our citizenship and perilous to the Empire. Southern Ireland leaving the British Commonwealth and its refusal to accept the legitimacy of Northern Ireland's existence illustrate the value it placed on the democratic rights of Unionists. As the founding document of Northern Ireland, the Ulster Solemn League and Covenant was both democratic and inclusive. 7 men signed the Irish Proclamation. 56 men signed the American Declaration of Independence. 471,414 men and women signed the Ulster Solemn League and Covenant. Political historians and commentators constantly hide from the fact that Dáil Éireann was a sectarian parliament built by Sinn Féin on intimidation, murder and Anglophobia. Far from delivering a Gaelic nirvana, Dáil Éireann failed. The idea that Ireland would be a rural, self-sufficient, inwardly looking nation condemned the people of Southern Ireland to decades of stagnation, poverty and abuse. In popular culture, Irish Republican leaders are portrayed as great statesmen and national heroes, while Unionists are looked on as inflexible, unimaginative sectarian bigots. It is time that this propaganda is exposed for what it is, a myth. The 2 leading Republican periods, or Republican figures of this period, Michael Collins and Eamon de Valera, had both taken part in the 1916 rebellion. Both had the blood of countless Irish men, women and children on their hands. Republican propaganda refers to the IRA as volunteers, giving the impression of nice, friendly people committed to helping and improving society. The truth being, they are criminal murderers. We must not forget that during the negotiating of the Anglo-Irish Treaty with the British government, Collins ordered the IRA to make the North ungovernable. This resulted in the violent death of over 400 people in the years 1921 and 22, including 2 Unionist MPs, Orangemen William John Twaddell and Field Marshal Sir Henry Wilson. Fittingly, Collins would meet a violent end himself, shot by one of Eamon de Valera's IRA murder gangs. Also, the pure hypocrisy of the Machiavellian Eamon de Valera proclaiming that the people of Northern Ireland had no right to live in the land of their birth, going as far as to state during the IRA genocide of 1919 to 22, Protestants are not Irish. What right has a New York-born Spanish-American got to say in relation to who is entitled to live on the island of Ireland? Politics is a dirty game, nowhere more so than on the island of Ireland. Irish nationalism and republicanism never miss an opportunity to sling mud, lies and hatred towards the Orange institution in Northern Ireland. These critics often claim it is a failed state or an orange statelet. It seems at times that the Republicans and the media have nothing positive to say in regard to unionism and orangism. If you only take the time to scrape the surface, these claims quickly fall apart. Politically, this cabinet of Orangemen achieved their goals, building a better society for everyone irrespective of their background. Northern Ireland would prosper due to the Union, with the National Health Service, education for all, council housing, social security, infrastructure, industrial and economic development. All while under constant attack from Republicans. To this day, nothing is free in a free state. Throughout his political life, James Craig disliked splitters and independence. It is for this reason that Orangemen must remain strong, loyal and true. The Orange institution is a unifying bond between all those of the Reformed faith. This is why Republicans hate the Orange institution so much. When asked about the great people and events in the history of Northern Ireland, Orangemen have nothing to fear or hide. They answer sure in their past and confident in their future. The foundations laid by Craig, Archdale and Andrews have guided Northern Ireland to this centennial year. As stated by Sir James Craig, what we have, we hold. Thank you.